Hello, Roftwood. It's me, Zombie GG with the Roftwood Coordination Center, proudly presenting you with another post-apocalyptic production I like to call an RCC Fireside Chat. This episode is the eighth and final part of my series with my all-time arch nemesis and RCC public enemy number one, Lord Moloch, strike leader for the infamous Ridleybank Resistance Front's Gore Corps necro-terrorist unit. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show.
So, the Survivor game as is, I don't think there is a huge Survivor game anymore. I just think that for the most part there are people who are survivors, if you know what I mean. The old days of the DEM, Channel 4 news team and all that stuff are kind of gone, and I think the reason for that is that the zombie game is now so weak that there's very little need for most survivors to be strong. So any place that we've gone, I think that there's a thing within the game now in which revives are incredibly easy to get. I think that it's been set now so that no one's ever dead for particularly long, if they don't want to be. I think that needle search rates, from my perspective when I was running my Survivor, I had like about 35 needles and it wasn't hard to get those. So when people die, there isn't a lot of real risk. I mean, the absolute worst, you're maybe going to go 6 to 10 hours before you get jabbed, at the absolute most, in an organised suburb. That means that most survivors nowadays are actually quite soft because they haven't ever been under what you'd call a really lasting pressure. And that's come about because the zombie game is relatively weak. I mean, how many threats are there really out there? You can get hit by the Scourge. They're a touring force and they can do some damage. But again, there's only really 18 of them, so most organised suburbs can stand up to them. I mean, if there's a team that's 18 strong, that means you're usually going to be facing about 13 of them. Because most teams, you're never seeing the whole weight. If you ever saw the whole weight of even the RRF as it stands now, 53 of us, if we were all rolling together, forget about it. We could take out like 7-8 suburbs in a row without even being touched and hold them. So the result is that the Survivor game is not as strong as it used to be.
And you think it's because the zombies aren't super powerful right now? There's no need for a giant Survivor gathering because the zombies aren't all over the place being a big threat.
And even when they are a threat, revives come so easily that it's not really that much of a threat. Like, it's Kevin designed a zombie apocalypse game that's actually a zombie inconvenience.
Like the zombies don't actually take over, they just like are bothersome.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we go into places typically, and we can wipe them out easily. Places Roftwood, Ridleybank, those are probably the two toughest ones at the moment, Roftwood and Ridleybank.
I was going to ask how your current events with the CDF went, because I remember after you got done crushing us last month, like just freaking haunting us, man. You came in overnight, you were like a dark moon that showed up and the sun never came up for like a month, and then you just went away, and our friends in Pitney were saying you guys were just crushing them.
To give you an example of what's gone on in Ridleybank, we basically wrecked it. It wasn't hard at all. It took us 2 strikes to empty Fort Creedy, which had like about 40 people in it.
Damn.
Yeah, we vaporized that place easily. Signock and the Scourge have been helping us with that, and Giddings Mall didn't last very long, same with the NTs in the area as well. Between those 3 groups, that was just a cakewalk. But now that we're leaving, it's popped up again within like 24 to 36 hours.
Yeah, they got a lively group of folks there.
Yeah, and it's not that I know it seems like it's really harsh and like I'm really being, survivors suck, etc. I don't want to be that brutal, but what I would say is that it's really easy to bounce back in the game as it stands. Bouncing back from being hit is quite a quick process. And I think that takes some of the threat out of the game, which is why the zombie side has become weak, because you're fighting against people who never stay dead for any significant period of time. Obviously, we don't expect you to stay dead forever, but it would be nice if every once in a while someone would die and then they'd maybe lose a few AP points having to stand at the revive point because they're not getting jabbed in time. you know, as opposed to literally just like they get jabbed, stand up, go back again.
Yeah.
So I feel like Pitney Bank is bouncing back really quickly, but it's not because they're especially good. It's literally because the only way to keep that sort of place down is for the zombies to never move and just stay there in ruined buildings, never getting to kill anybody. And that's the real problem there. But I would say Roftwood and Pitney Bank are probably the hardest places we go to. I'd say the resistance is mostly a little bit more active in Pitney Bank than in Roftwood, but Roftwood has more people. So Roftwood is a harder ask, which is why we hit it the way we did, which was very, very organised.
It was fast, dude. It was real fast.
It was, yeah. I mean,
like
the reality was that once we had gathered the people together that we had, the 4 leaders that we had, and I'd come up with a plan and submit it to them, they liked it, and we decided to go through with it. It was literally just a matter of, once it's done, this is not a fight, this is an execution. And that's basically what happened. The new wave of the Gore Corps, we set our new strike record that day with 22 kills in about 15 minutes. And then the Scourge absolutely railed Tollyton, Signot did for Pimbank, and the constables came in and started messing stuff up over in the west, and the Flowers pinned people down and just were killing people left, right, and centre. And we knew with the numbers that we had, but also with the calibre of players that we were bringing in, that this was not going to be something that was going to be difficult. It would be a matter of seeing how you reacted, rather than can they fight us off, because we knew that couldn't happen.
It was definitely emotional. Like, I saw you post that thing in the wiki after we've been trying to deal with all the events in game on the Discord, and I just didn't have the heart to try to like play with the narrative, man. It's true. I was like emotional for a bit. Not like super angry or pissed, but just like, I don't know, I just couldn't. It hurt, man. You guys crushed us really fast, and it was totally unexpected and surprise attack. And it was crazy, and it was kind of emotional. It was just like, wow, okay, we thought we were like feeling all kinds of good. We're hanging art all over Roftwood. We literally had a new group that just started called like Mars, the Molten Art Restoration Society. And then it's just like, nope, all the pretty art gone, everything ruined, everyone's dead. Swansboro Park has like 20 standing zombies fucking murring for a revive. And no one's alive to poke anyone, so damn it.
I did find it very gratifying when the revive queue at Swansboro Park hit 18.
Yeah, it's impressive, dude.
I'm glad you appreciated it.
It's just fun. You gave me that quote, "Steel sharpens steel," and you know, it's good to get reminded about what we're dealing with right next door.
Yeah, in that instance, we weren't really trying to sharpen steel. There, we were trying to break the sword.
It was visible when you guys just moved out of Roftwood, and we just, oh wow, we can actually sleep in buildings in Roftwood again. Like, we're all joking about it. We're like, wow, we stayed alive in Roftwood for 24 hours. If we can't stay alive in Roftwood for 24 hours, that's when we consider it, like, gray. It's like, wow, no one can stay alive in Roftwood for over 24 hours. It's just impossible. Your Gore corpse will find us inside buildings, or the ground forces will just smash down the barricades, and then we can't repair anything because you're occupying shit. We don't have any ammo to kill the shit inside the buildings. It's fucking crazy. And then you just leave, I guess, when you're bored, and then we try to get back on our feet as fast as possible and get ready for the next punch.
Well, I will give you one little bit of insight into that campaign. Your decision to change the Discord rules about alts is the reason why you got your suburb back after 2 weeks.
Yeah, when I was working on outgrowing the trench coat or whatever.
Yeah, basically, if that hadn't have happened, we'd probably still be holding the suburb now.
So that was kind of like campaign motivated for like pressure for RCC policy.
It's not so much pressure for RCC policy. The mentality behind it was effectively that we needed to make an example that the killers of Molten have a code of ethics, and if the code of ethics is not respected, we can make it a lot harder than people can actually believe.
that total darkness. But yeah, so we've covered the modern zombie era, the modern survivor era, your thoughts on why that is, relationship with RCC a little bit we talked about. Yeah, I had to outgrow the trench coat a couple times with the whole recognizing the DGM zerging crap and just trying to make the RCC more transparent in a cleaner caliber to, I don't know, at least try to be respected on the battlefield you play on an ethical level, if we can't do it on a military level. And then what recently, yeah, it was for a long time I had that RCC policy where I didn't think people would actually respect alt separation, meaning that like if someone had a character in a zombie group, then they would not respect not sharing information with that character if they played in a survivor group. And that was just me being wicked paranoid trench coaty, and it was so stiffly ingrained in me that I didn't even think twice about it until a little bit of strong wording from Lord Moloch and then some actions and stuff. But ultimately I understand that I was acting in like a stinky manner by not trusting. I can't really say that I respect this community if I don't trust people to, I don't know, Kevin, the game creator, says that you can have multiple characters if you respect all separation, so who am I to like go against what Kevin says? I don't know if that makes sense.
That makes sense. You've gone a long way towards... I wouldn't even say you've gone a long way towards being the best survivor organisation in the game. You have actually become the best survivor organisation in the game.
That feels real good to hear. Thank you.
We don't see anything like you anywhere else. There's organisation in Ridleybank, but they're not really organised. They're not very smart, and there's a lot of zergs.
Ew.
Yeah, Kyger Mall, fuck Kyger Mall. Kyger Mall is a cakewalk. We literally just walk in there and waste the place. There are no other really super... I suppose the thing is, I would say the Knights Templar, but the last time we went into their territory, we just walked through it.
I want to ask you about your vision for Urban Dead's future. Do you think we could reach out to Kevin and see if he wants to add any kind of updates or something?
Realistically, I don't think he'd ever do it. What I would really like to see, and it's kind of I would like to see it, but I kind of fear the direction it would go in, is for Urban Dead to become an app.
Yeah, mobile phone app.
Yeah, if Urban better coded mobile phone app, it could have a resurgence and we could have a big game again. Because the demand is out there. People love zombie apocalypse stories. The funny thing is, I'm not actually a big fan of zombie movies. I think they're generic and shit. I like Dawn of the Dead, the original one. The remake is for kids with attention deficit disorder. I don't like that. The original Night of the Living Dead is good. Day of the Dead is shit. The other half-decent ones are really badly dubbed Italian movies. They're just not good films. I love horror. I just don't like zombie films. But there is call for it, you know. I mean, if The Walking Dead can still get viewers now with how absolutely fucking laughably shit it is, there's clearly demand for Urban Dead as a game if it's just packaged properly. But it would need to be an app. It would need to be changed. My fear with it is, though, if they did go in that direction, you'd wind up with something that becomes play to win. And I don't like play to win. I don't think Kevin likes play to win for a start. I think he's very good about that, at least.
I agree. It should be like some grandfathered rule if it goes mobile.
Yeah, it should go mobile. It should even be like a paid app. Like, I would pay $5 for it, just to play a new map and have all of our characters start out from level 1 again, and just have nicer graphics and maybe some other shit. But also an app that you can run on PC, because that's just more convenient for people who are like office working and stuff. I mean, it could easily work. I just don't think it's his thing anymore. I think he's past it. I think he leaves Urban Dead up just because I think he does appreciate the game and it still has a following, but it's just this thing that he has running on his home server now.
No joke, after I'm done this series with like you, I'm gonna present all of it in an email to Kevin. I really want him to know that like you, me, Stellar, Bob Moncrief, and there's like, you know, a few of us that in the community that really appreciate this game, and I don't know, maybe you could have some kind of conversation with us or something, like a live voice chat.
I think it'd be interesting to see if he says anything about it. He's been generally quite isolationist, but I know that he does keep characters active so he can test like barricade drop rates and stuff like that. I don't think he's very good at it, to be honest with you, because the barricade drop rates can be scandalous at times. And whenever he's what happens is, it's happened before, Bosch has contacted him saying, what the fuck's going on? We're down to like 5% against barricades. And he'll email Bosch back. He always emails back quite fast, actually. But he emails Bosch back, or whoever's contacted him, and says, I've just tested it and it seems to be absolutely fine, within parameters. And then the barricade drop rate mysteriously goes through the fucking roof, so everyone's got chainsaw claws. So
Wow,
to me,
claws.
to me, it's always seemed like, yeah, that's what we refer to it as when we go through barricades really quickly.
Fantastic.
I think there's often quite a situation in which the numbers have gone off in his RNG, and in order to compensate for that, he's boosted the ratings a little bit so that we get through faster. Because barricades are still the most unbalanced thing in the entire game, and I think he's aware of that.
Yeah, I don't like how they don't give experience to zombies. Like, when I rolled human GG, I made him feral for, like, until I got most of my skills. And, the one experience you get off successfully hitting a barricade, it's, like, pretty hard when you're a low-level zombie to, like, hit those barricades successfully. And then you're only rewarded 1 XP. That alone was, like, pretty freaking frustrating.
Yeah, I think that the biggest problem the game has always had, and the reason why the zombie game... It's why the zombie game works so well, but also why it never really became like a dominant play style, if you know what I mean, like a majority wanting to do it, is not so much just because people always picture themselves as the survivor. They want to be in the mall in Dawn of the Dead, eating fucking food and getting bored because no zombies can get in.
Even though artwork, playing on the radio.
Yeah, hoarding artwork, playing on the radio, and then getting mysteriously mass. I think that what really is the problem there is that it's imbalanced in the way barricades work, in that if you're in a strike team or you're in an organised horde, fantastic, you can get fed. Or if you're following an organised horde even, you can get fed. Like there's one of the big zombie players, I forget his name, but literally all he does is follow big hordes around. Zuma, yeah, he just goes in and eats when other people have broken places open for it.
Zuma is like literally #1 in the game for highest experience on any character, and then that character is a zombie that pretty much just haunts Roftwood, Ridleybank, and Nicole's Mall.
Yeah, so he's done really well at it. It's by almost being a remora, if you know what I mean, like hanging around beside a shark. But if you're not with the shark in Urban Dead, you don't get fed. It's very easy for a lone survivor to make a difference. It's almost impossible for a lone zombie to do so.
Yeah, it's very easy to get demoralized as a feral zombie.
Especially, I mean, the worst game mechanic of all is 2 action points to take 1 step for a beginning zombie. Like, how the fuck do you expect people to get into this game with that?
Yeah, that's pretty garbage, actually. I didn't even I always just thought of it as annoying, but I didn't even think about it as, like, if you're trying to actually market a game, how are you introducing it to a new player? That's such a punishment to a new player.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you want to play, there's 2 sides to this game, and if you want to play this one side, you get fucked for half of your action points. Oh, by the way, if one of the higher level players comes out and shoots you in the head, you lose 1/3 of your daily action points, and it costs you 2 AP to move. 16 AP up after a headshot as a new zombie, and 2 action points to take 1 step, with a 25% chance with the claws.
I got brain rot at like level 23 with my human GG character. I was just so tired of getting combat revived, and then like I had to figure out which buildings had like windows to jump out of, and then oh man, it was so frustrating. Combat revives if you're actually trying to play a pure zombie, it's just like the biggest pain in the balls. There's nothing that a zombie can do to a survivor that is as frustrating as a survivor combat reviving a low level zombie. I'm pretty positive of that.
And that's why you have us.
Yeah, you keep the game 1 fun, and then 2 clean. you operate off a good ethos, regardless of how foul your mouths can be or whatever, or like how much blood you smear all over places people love. What do you think? We'll end on this: the future of Roftwood and Ridleybank. We're just gonna keep going at each other's throats.
Pretty much. I don't think it's ever going to stop because you guys won't die and we won't stop.
Yeah, my
That's
contacts is pretty much half of. I think I might have all 53. No, probably not, but I have a lot of you guys on my contacts list. I definitely have more of you guys than survivors.
I feel like I deserve my own color.
Red is pretty terrifying for me. What am
See,
I on your friends or on your contacts list?
Black.
Black? I
Yeah.
can make you black. I only have 2 black on my contacts list. I guess you could be a third.
You guys are in black because you're the bad guys. The Gore are in white because we're the good guys.
I respect your perspective, man. I can appreciate a good enemy. You're on the other side of the battlefield in this game. But, man, your tactics are tight, and you provide a lot of fun. You keep us from just staring at art for too long.
And we hope to keep you from staring at art for a while to come.
Cool, brother. Thank you for doing this with me, and I look forward to our next series.
Thank you for having me.
Hello again, Roftwood. This concludes my series with my personal all-time arch nemesis and RCC public enemy #1, Lord Moloch, strike leader for the infamous Ridleybank Resistance Front's Gore Corps necro-terrorist unit. This RCC Fireside Chat is a post-apocalyptic production proudly presented to you by the Roftwood Coordination Center. I'm Zombie GG, and as always, Roftwood, the pleasure's been mine.